Hey guys, this is Red and Blue, your channel on YouTube for all things PSG in English. Please subscribe. Today, I'm sorry the video is coming out a bit late. I was waiting for the paperwork to come from Bournemouth, but Zabarnyi to PSG, here we effing go. It's been a while, my God. This one took 3 months, like 3 months to finalize this time, but we've been after the player for longer. He was already talked about with PSG during the last transfer window. Didn't want to come then, and yeah, like since like days after the Champions League final, we were already negotiating for him. So it's been a good 2 months. But yes, the deal is finally done. He's coming to PSG. It's a 63 million euro deal plus 3 millions of potential bonus, so it could go all the way to 66 million. Remember, initially Bournemouth wanted 70 million. PSG didn't want to pay more than 60. So in the end, we split the bill and kind of found a deal somewhere in the middle. Question mark will be how easy are those bonus to reach. But yeah, ultimately 3 million doesn't make a major difference. We're looking at a player who's 22 years old. He's a central defender, right-footed, so playing typically on the right side of central defense. He's 1 meter 89, so about 6'2", I think, for US friends. A big, stocky, physical defender. Who's really made a name for himself, first in Dynamo Kiev in Ukraine, and for the past 2 years and a half in Bournemouth in the Premier League. And he's really become, especially last season, playing with Dino Sen, one of the most respected young defenders in the world. And certainly a big potential, and already a major player to recruit and for any team in Europe. So even for us, it's a great signing. An expensive one to be sure as well. And I think the question mark will be how he keeps developing, how he refines some of the less polished elements of his game, and how he fits in with the rest of the squad. I think the question mark as well will be, obviously he's coming in to pick up for Marquinhos. Marquinhos is, I think, already 32 years old, so he's getting on in age. He's been here forever. He's our captain, obviously, and our eternal loved leader who lifted the Champions League for us. But yeah, he's getting on with age, and I think the club is preparing to make that transition with a younger player coming in. And I think, at this price, the question mark will be, is he a part of the starting 11 right from now? Is it a progressive transition that's going to happen over the next years, the next 2 years? And yeah, how much longer is Marquinhos going to be, not only at the club, but how long is he going to be a regular starter for us? And yeah, how long is he what is his future like in PSG? When it comes to Zabarnyi, though, like I said, I think the profile of the player is super interesting. We're talking about, kind of a player who's similar to Pacho in the sense that he's a defender. He's not a Brazilian Beraldo or Marquinhos type of defender who's primarily very good with his feet, but doesn't know how to cover, how to tackle, or get his shots dirty. In this case, he's definitely on the more physical, aggressive side and defensive side of the position, which is great because we've seen with Pacho that ultimately you do need this sort of player on your team. You do need defenders who are good at defending, and so yeah. Massive respect to Marquinhos as well, who's a fantastic defender, obviously beyond his skill with the ball and passing and so on. But yeah, this looks like it could be one step up from Marquinhos in terms of defensive skills. Zabarnyi is physical, like I said, he's a big dude, good with his head. He might very well, he might very well come in and already be our top player in terms of header within the squad. So that's very promising. He's also relatively fast. He's not the fastest defender in the world. He lacks a little bit in terms of acceleration, but he very much makes up for it in terms of speed over time, but also in terms of intelligence and positioning. He sees the way the game develops and kind of understand how it goes. And he's got a knack for finding himself in the right place at the right time, either to intercept or to be able to keep up with an opponent, even if that opponent is faster than him. So that's quite promising. He knows how to defend without needing to go on the ground, but he's comfortable doing that as well. So yeah, he's an all-rounder. I think, it's funny, I was like researching him before this, and I found earlier this summer, beginning of July, the International Center for Sports Studies have released a list of the 10 most valuable center backs in the world, and he's actually number 6 on that list. And they estimated his value at 67.1 million euros. So, I think in the end, it shows his value. It shows that we haven't overpaid for him, despite the high price tag. And the funny part is that Pacho is actually number 7 on that list. So we do have now maybe our starting central defense is number 6 and number 7's most valuable central defenders in the world. And if you look at the name ahead of them, Saliba, Colwill, Oysen, Nkapie of Bayer Leverkusen. I was a bit surprised at this one. And then Pau Kubarsi top the list. So we're really looking at top defenders. And obviously, there's not another team who, from this particular perspective, has a stronger central defense than us. So that's a really great place to be at for us. And I think, it's a great place because it looks like that could be our central defense, and with Chevalier as well in goalkeeper, that could be our central, 3 defender goalkeeper. For the next 5 to 10 years, easy. So yeah, I think for me, another thing as well, which I was thinking, is that he also follows the Pacho example in another way, which I think is massively valuable. Is that he's a player that, knock on wood, hasn't had much trouble with injuries so far in his career. He's kind of a beast physically as well. So he's a player who can play game after game after game without really needing much respite or much turnover. That's great for us. He's an international Ukrainian player. He's got I think nearly 50 caps with Ukraine at 22 years old. It's absolutely insane. But at the same time, I think it's good for us because it's a defender who, for once, if you compare with our 2 central defenders from last year, so Pacho and Marquinhos, both of them, when international football time come, they have to travel all the way to South America. And it's happened a few times in the season where they come back and it's literally they have to play 24 or 36 hours later in the French league. Away from home as well, jet lagged, and having played in South America 3 days before, insane travels and jet lags and pacing of games and so on. So I think it'd be nice to have a central defender who's going away on international duty, but it's just a few hours on a plane away, and without much of a jet lag. So that could simplify things for us in terms of handling those tricky games when we get back from international breaks. And I think in the context of this season as well, of our main squad not having changed very much from last year, and having played a very, very long season with a lot of games that went all the way to the beginning of July, had a very short holiday, not much of a holiday actually, not much of a preseason either. It's great that one of our central defenders has had the benefit of a holiday, has had the benefit of a full preseason training with Bournemouth, and he's looking fully fit and sharp to start this season, pedal to the metal. We'll have to see how quickly he can integrate all of the gaming principles of Luis Enrique and so on. But yeah, like it's a great addition from that perspective. And then the question mark for me, and I think where I'll be curious to see him on the pitch and see how he goes. But there is a question mark and a lingering doubt in my mind in terms of whether his profile is not too close to Pacho. And if we look at our central defense from last year, Marquinhos and Pacho worked really well together because they had different skills and different areas of performance that they could compensate across. So Pacho was more of the defending defender, when Marquinhos was the first point of moving the ball up front, passing the ball back into midfield or to Hakimi, and projecting further up on the pitch. So yeah, that played well for us. I think Zabarnyi is a great defender by all accounts. He's very good with the ball, and I think he's proven with the Ukraine team more than with Bournemouth, but that he can definitely handle the ball and handle passing the ball out of defense. But he's probably not at the same level as Marquinhos in that particular aspect of it. So it will be interesting to see when we encounter teams who come at us with a very high press, how will our central defenders handle that? Is it going to be all down to Chevalier to find long passes to break the press? Even Chevalier, having looked at a lot of analysis on him and a lot of clips and so on, is not necessarily always ultra reliable when he's getting pressed. So we'll have to see how all of those players kind of gel together, and what kind of tactical solutions Luis Enrique can find to make sure that those areas of improvements or area of potential flaws don't show and don't cost us anything. We'll see. He's done it before, so and I think in this case, both Luis Campos and Luis Enrique have been so adamant about trying to get this player at all cost, and despite the odds and despite Bournemouth really being a tough negotiating partner, now I'm curious and I want to see what they see. They've been tremendous in terms of landing a great mercato last season. So we can only hope that the decisions that they're making this year are going to turn up to be as good as, and that we could have the best central defense in the world. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. The player is going to be traveling to Paris probably today or day after tomorrow. Tomorrow or day after tomorrow. Little backtracks on the word salad. Tomorrow or day after tomorrow for his medical. He'll be signed in Paris before the Super Cup, the European Super Cup, which is Wednesday next week, I believe. He's probably going to travel with the squad for this one. Once again, knock on wood, assuming everything goes okay and medical and so on, final paperwork gets through. It's not impossible that he'd be part of the team for the Super Cup. Once again, assuming everything is good. Because like I said, obviously he's done the full preseason with Bournemouth, so he should be match fit and ready to play. And I think Luis Enrique, he's wanted the player so much, I wouldn't be surprised to see him use it. So we could see him on the pitch pretty quickly. Same thing for Chevalier, actually. The latest on Chevalier is that he's passed his medical successfully. He signed his contract. And now, as I record this, we're waiting any minute for the official announcement from PSG. So, mercato is heating up. Our patience has been rewarded. I'm so happy. I said it from the beginning, guys. Everyone needs to listen to me. We just needed to be patient. But yeah, Luis Campos was working. Things are happening. We've got two shiny new players. And I think now it's going to be interesting to see what comes next in this mercato. We have a lot of players to sell and to offload. And at the same time, like a few other areas of the squad that could use some little bit of strength and some little bit of numbers. So it's going to be interesting to see where it goes. Mercato in the UK is still going crazy, and they still have a glut for number nines. So Colomwani and Ramos are both part of a lot of conversation. There's some like funny nonsense as well. Maybe I'll do a video on this tomorrow. It's actually like entirely possible, but like nonsense from Spanish Real media about Vitinha having some sort of release clause in his contract, which is just completely hilarious, given that release clauses are actually not even legal in France. But you know, that never gets in the way of a good story anyway. But yeah, so like lots of action still to come. And you know, we'll see how these teams keeps assembling. We're going to be rolling out towards the European Super Cup in the next few days as well. So exciting time. We're going to be back on the pitch. So yeah, stay tuned. And for now, I'd say, like, you know, please leave a like on this video. As you can hear, I'm like completely sick, but I really still wanted to do this. So I might not have a voice anymore tomorrow. If you don't see me, you'll know why. But yeah, please drop a like on this video just for that. Leave a comment on what you think. How happy are you to see Zabarnyi arrive? And, you know, do you think he's going to be a starter from the get-go? Do you think they're going to rotate with Marquinhos? Do you think Marquinhos is still going to be the starter and Zabarnyi gets gaming time progressively throughout the season? How do you think that's gonna settle? And yeah, as always, like please subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Daily video on PSG in English, the best news you can find with an actual like Frenchman supporter of PSG giving it. So do subscribe, hit the bell for notification as well. And don't forget, ici c'est Paris!